Hello everyone, my name is Radio Mike and this is The Inside of My Mind, and today I want to give my thoughts and impressions on the newly released DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the Dragon Quest hero. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so right at the top of this video, I just want to disclose that I don't really have much experience with Dragon Quest as a series, but I'm still really glad that these characters are in the game, and it seems like Nintendo have done a really good job representing the Dragon Quest series as best as possible in this game. And the constant attention to detail and meticulousness with these DLC picks is always really incredible to see. Looking back quickly at some of the previous DLC characters from both Smash 4 and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I feel like one of the key goals, particularly for the third-party characters, is to give them really new and original gameplay mechanics that never previously existed in the game to make them feel especially unique. For example, when playing as Ryu, an experienced player is able to input the original button combinations for Ryu's moves in the original Street Fighter to trigger more powerful versions of his attacks. Cloud utilizes the limit gauge from Final Fantasy VII, which charges up over time and allows him to unleash a more powerful attack when it's full. Similarly, the Joker has a Rebellion gauge, which eventually allows him to summon a persona of Arsene, which improves many of his moves and attributes. The hero has a similar kind of gimmick with both the MP gauge and the command menu, which requires the player to manage MP in order to use a variety of special attacks. So a lot of people say that there's enough anime sword fighter characters in this game between all of the Fire Emblem reps alone, and they're definitely right, but out of all the sword fighters, the hero seems to be particularly reminiscent of Robin in my opinion. Robin also uses more or less of an MP bar through the tome mechanic, as well as being a magic using sword wielder. Both Robin and the hero have fire and thunder type special moves mapped to their standard and side specials, as well as an up special that is dependent on having enough MP to use it. Because both these characters come from some of the most successful JRPGs in the world, it's not really a surprise that they have some stark similarities. I also see some subtle similarities between the hero and Shulk in the game. I remember when Shulk was first announced for Super Smash Bros. 4 and the Monado arts mechanic was revealed, I thought it was really cool and unique that there was a character who could individually manage their stats while in a battle. At the same time, I always felt that Smash was just too fast-paced of a game, particularly in its more competitive style, to actually justify characters who required micromanagement of stats. Because of this, I always found it particularly difficult to get into Shulk. I'd stumble through the menu of Monado arts and never truly memorize where each one was, leading me to often just randomly selecting one of the arts so I could just keep fighting. Obviously, there are a ton of Shulk players who are incredible at this and have truly mastered the art of changing the Monado arts to best suit their current situation, whether it be defense when they're high on percentage or smash to take out an opponent quicker. The hero reminds me of Shulk because of the way the command menu operates. So the command menu was certainly the most prominent part about the hero and is definitely the main gimmick of the character. Essentially, when you perform the hero's down special, you freeze on the spot as the character strikes a thinking pose. A command menu opens up by your character icon at the bottom of the screen, and you're able to scroll through it and select one of 4 randomly generated spells, each with a unique MP cost. Each spell you use gradually depletes your MP gauge, which eventually fills up as you attack opponents, but it also fills up slowly over time, so during my time playing as the hero, I never felt particularly worried about being low on MP. When you are low on MP, the hero's sword is always pretty reliable, and a lot of its smash attacks are extremely satisfying when they connect. Even more satisfying than some of the other sword characters for a reason I couldn't quite identify while I played. It just seemed to have an oomph to it. Okay, so back to the command menu. It's a really cool idea, and it really makes a character like the hero refreshing in this game. It definitely does feel like you're in the middle of an RPG, having to plan, strategize, and choose which move you want to use next. At the same time, unlike in a turn-based RPG, in Smash you rarely ever have time to actually strategize or even think about what you want to do in this sense. Particularly in a 1v1 scenario, by the time the menu is open, the opponent is already moving towards you quickly, which often just ends up with me stumbling through the menu and randomly choosing a spell. This can sometimes cause a lot of trouble, particularly because there's one spell called Kamikaze, which is an extremely powerful attack that acts as a self-sacrifice and takes one of your stocks if you use it. It's really easy to accidentally use this spell, especially in the fast-paced nature of Smash. I found that sometimes my brain couldn't even process which of the random spells I had the option to choose from fast enough, which again just led to me choosing one at random. That being said, moves like Kamikaze really show the uniqueness of the hero. It's the only move in the history of the series that has an effect like that. There's elements of stat management in the command menu with spells like Oomph, Psych Up, and Accelerate, which give you temporary stat bonuses during play. There's also more crafty or physical spells like Snooze, a projectile move that will put enemies to sleep upon contact. It feels potentially easier to land than Jigglypuff's Sing, which is probably one of the only moves in the game that induces sleep. However, the projectile moves pretty slowly, which makes it easier to dodge if the enemy's not in close range. There's also a bonus recovery move in the command menu called Zoom, but again, it just seems impractical to ever reliably use this. It just doesn't seem like it would ever be worth the risk of falling off the stage and activating the command menu with the hope that Zoom might be an option. Visually, it's a cool move, but overall it just seems like a silly gimmick that you could never count on. Different moves in the command menu have different probabilities of appearing on the screen. For example, Heal is one of the rarest ones to appear and possibly one of the best moves in the arsenal, which heals up to 11% of your damage. Healing moves in Super Smash Bros. Are pretty sparse and often difficult to land, like Ness and Lucas's down special, which requires projectiles and timing, or Wario's standard special and Robin's down special, which both require proximity. You can definitely see competitive players farming for heal spells after a KO in a 1v1 match to gain as much of an upper hand as possible in the time it takes for their opponent to respawn. Magic Burst is another great move that drains all of your MP and does damage in relation to the amount of MP you had remaining. It's a huge magic explosion that's really worthwhile, especially in matches with multiple competitors where Magic Burst packs a massive punch. Like Magic Burst, the randomness of a lot of the spells definitely seem to lean more toward larger battles as opposed to more competitive 1v1 matches. The variety of the command menu is definitely incredible fan service to Dragon Quest fans who will surely recognize all of these spells, and honestly, I think that's great, even though the randomness hinders this a bit. From a UI standpoint, I noticed that during a round of 8-player Smash, I could barely even see the options in the command menu. The character icons are scaled smaller to allow for 8 to appear on the screen, which means that each spell ended up written in extremely small text. There was so much happening on the screen, so again, I'd usually just end up randomly picking a spell and using it and hoping for the best. Overall, I think the Dragon Quest hero is really fun to play. The Smash attacks are extremely satisfying to land, and though the command menu system is random and unreliable, that level of unpredictability and freshness genuinely makes the battle feel fresh every time you play. You never really know what you're gonna get. And I found that the more I played Hero, the more I was beginning to learn what each of the spells in the command menu did, which meant I was able to start processing the information quicker and making slightly more strategic choices. I can definitely see pro players getting extremely good with this character. The hero is a great addition to Smash Bros. I always really like the DLC characters that bring something completely new to the table and really communicate and express the way these characters originally felt in their source material. I'm really glad the hero is here, and I can't wait to see who's next in the DLC pack. If you want to hear my thoughts on who that might be, go ahead and check out this video on the screen now. Give this one a thumbs up and comment below what you think of the hero. I'd love to know. Subscribe to my channel for more videos on gaming, and you can check out my podcast 20th Century Boy, which is available on iTunes, Spotify, or on my YouTube channel. It's a podcast where I meet up with my intern and my editor and sometimes a few other colourful characters, and we all hang out and talk about movies, music, comedy, and pop culture. It's a lot of fun, so I'd love for you to check it out. But for now, all I'd like to say is that my name is Radio Mike, and this has been The Inside of My Mind. See you later, bye-bye.